Hello Facebook family. We're here today with Denton Culpepper, and we're here at the Shadows Estate. Denton purchased the Shadows Estate and he is now in the process of renovating. Denton, when did you start this process?
I started this process actually a little bit before Christmas, but I really didn't begin full-scale restoration until February of this year. So I'm about 3 months in right now, and I'm moving really well. So.
Okay, so when do you anticipate completion of the project?
I'll most likely be through with this. Living here Halloween, definitely by Christmas, no doubt. Major things have been done. The foundation of the house has been completely rebuilt.
Okay.
Had very few issues. Have a new roof on it, and now we're replacing all the old clapboard on the outside of the house with a modern material, which is similar to hardy board. It's actually called LP Smart Siding. It's approved by the National Register. It looks just like wood. It feels just like wood. It's made from wood particles, but it's rot resistant, termite resistant, and fire resistant.
Okay.
But you won't be able to tell this like the original clapboard. The house, believe it or not, was actually painted white originally a long time ago, and this lattice used to go all the way around the house that you see down here, and it was painted blue. And it must have been a sight, because that'd have been but blue was actually a very expensive paint pigment back then.
Okay.
So it was done with nothing but show off. The house is white. My entire life it's been gray. Everybody in Webster Parish thinks it's just this old beautiful gray wood, but it's actually not. The house was sprayed with silver paint in 1953. So if you look really close, you can see the silver paint flaking off of it. A man came around painting tin roofs, and he sprayed the house silver. So the wood is not gray. It's actually been spray painted silver.
Okay.
So but anyway, we'll turn back to white eventually.
Okay, good. Well, we're going to take a walk inside, and you give us a show of what we have here.
Absolutely. So the first thing we'll enter is the dog trot. Dog trot was from this house in 1850, and it was built in 1850 by Calvin Leary. However, this is not the oldest structure on the property. The oldest structure on the property is actually this next room that we're going in, and it was built in 1816 by the Bias family. Calvin Leary dismantled it. He numbered it first, dismantled it, and put on this large new foundation as the left pin of the dog trot, or the southern pin of the dog trot. He then hewed these logs in the northern pin of the dog trot himself in 1850 along with his slave labor, and formed a 2-room dog trot house. This is actually a very rare structure. Not only is it a rare survivor of being a dog trot, it's a log dog trot, and on top of that, it's actually the largest log dog trot in Louisiana.
Well, let me ask you something. For people who don't know, tell us, what is a dog trot?
A dog trot is simply an open hallway through the middle of the house that usually connected a front porch to a back porch. Do you feel the breeze coming through here? What it did was they face 2 directions, either west or they face south, because that's the prevailing winds in Louisiana. So no matter if it's 100 degrees outside, the air temperature in this dog trot would be 10 to 15 to 20 degrees different, and there's always a breeze starting through here. So they put their doors opposite of each other, and it allowed circulation to the house all the time. This dog trot was closed in the 1920s by the Shadow family, the same time the dormer was put on the house, which wasn't originally here. Obviously, I cannot live in a dog trot house because I'm not locking 20 doors when I leave, or security reasons. I will close it back in, but with 1850s doors to make it, that way. The dog trot actually suffered a lot of degradation in regards to the house settling itself. The house had failed almost 9 inches right here. We had to jack it up and things of that nature. The beams you see in here right now are not original to this house. They're from 1846, Dr. Gibbs' house. I liked them. This room is not really an original part of the structure, so I kind of went farmhouse in here for right now.
Well, tell me about the Gibbs house. Now, you purchased that house so that you could repurpose the material.
Yes, ma'am. I purchased the Gibbs house. Myself, along with some workers, tore down the entire Gibbs house in about 3.5 months. It was about a 2,500 square foot house. It was also a plantation, and all the material at it, except for the window panes, was all made on the plantation. So everything there, even the original doorknobs and stuff were iron that was made there. The same thing's pretty much true here. There was no New Orleans. Shreveport wasn't big at the time. This was a very rural area. You would do with what you had. The only thing that wasn't made at this house was the porcelain doorknobs and the glass and the window panes at this house in 1850. Everything else was all made right here for the property, including the bricks and the fireplaces outside, which we'll see a bit later.
Okay.
We're going to walk into the original 1816 structure here at the property.
Okay.
You'll notice there's logs. These are all the original logs for the house. If I didn't have this blocking it, you can see, do you see the Roman numerals right there? It says 7,
yes.
8. Calvin Leary dismantled this structure, which sit a little bit behind the house, put on this new big foundation, and restacked the logs back like they originally were in 1850. This is one of the original back door of the log cabin, and the door that is right there, which is leaning over there for the time being, is the original 1816 doors of the log cabin. They did not have knobs. They had hand-forged latches, which I still have on the doors. So the floor here in this house is real heart pine. A lot of people say I have heart pine flooring in my house. No, you don't. This is real heart pine flooring. And all the flooring in the house is original. I have to replace about a 9-inch piece. Everything else is in perfect condition.
Okay.
That is the original mantle in this house as well. All the windows are original. All the doors are original. Notice the ceiling. The ceiling boards are 25 feet long. They're not pieced together. The floors are 25 feet long. There's no spaces in the floors. They were one piece of wood the whole way. This being my master bedroom. This room right here was originally a porch in 1850. It was closed in 1855 as a bedroom because Calvin Leary had 6 children, and then he went to North Carolina and adopted 2 more children that were his sisters and his brother-in-laws that died of yellow fever. So he needed room. So he started closing in porches to make room for his family.
Okay.
This will actually serve as a huge master closet in the house when I get finished with it.
That is a huge master closet.
That would be a big master closet. So this is a big bedroom. Why not? You know.
Okay.
But historically, all the walls, doors, ceilings, floors, everything in the house will still retain, you know, original character. The fireplaces are made from handmade, you know, slave-made brick. You cannot burn them. However, I'll put vented gas logs in here, and it'll look like it's burning. So. In here was another porch, 1850, 1855. This was closed in as a large bedroom. This will be my bathroom. Those are actually not original to the house. This one here will actually go on this wall in my bathroom and burn gas logs under it as well. So the only original room off of this porch was, you see this wall that's taken down over here, that was a small room right there. This was all porch when the house was built. That was where the house servants' room was. And that was also Mariah, who Calvin Leary had an affair with and had 2 children with, whose descendants still live today in Minden. At the time, it was really common. If you look at the census, any large plantation owner, they listed people as, in the plantation, they would put male, female, and of course, in the slave census, it was black. But you'll also see M's every once in a while, and that meant mulatto. And Calvin Leary showed in there, had 2 mulatto children living here in 1850. One was 4, one was 3. That was his 2 children with Mariah. This was Mariah's bedroom right here. This was all porch, so she could tend to the master and his wife and the kids in this bedroom right here. Also, she was right back here was the original kitchen, so she would walk off this porch to the kitchen. But it was a little tiny room, but compared to the dark, you know, dreary log slave cabins out in the field, she, you know, was treated much better. I'll put a wall across here because it's been a laundry room back behind here, but that wall was not there originally.
Well, tell us, Denton, about any family members of the original homeowners that live here in Minden or surrounding areas.
Once again, there's a few African American people in Minden that are last name Leary, and they're descendants of Calvin Leary. I don't know of any of Calvin Leary's ancestors that still live here. If there are any, they would be Colberts, which is C-O-L-B-E-R-T, who live in Shreveport. And there are some Colberts listed in the phone book. I just haven't made the connection yet with them, you know, and I'm hoping that when Rick Rowe comes and does the Times piece later on, the house is more, and maybe somebody will come forward with some more pictures and stuff like that. But I actually have pictures of Calvin Leary, his wife, of Mariah, of her children, of their grandchildren, stuff like that. So I have a lot of lineage stuff on them.
Okay, let's continue. We'll continue on.
Absolutely. So now we'll walk from the oldest portion of the house to Calvin Leary's log portion of the house, which was built in 1850. The logs on this side are finished much better. So here's the northern pin of the dog trot. This would have served as the dining room and the parlor in the original plantation before this part over here was added on. There was one room upstairs, which was the sleeping quarters for all the boys. There was 4 boys upstairs when the house was first built. Gaps in the logs, you can see there's a piece of wood between them, so just batten. A lot of log houses, we think if you see the chinking in between the logs, which is like a mortar mix. In the South, chinking was not popular. They just put batten. They usually stuffed the inside with Spanish moss or grass or whatever else, but the rats of the years have pulled that out. This floor in here, this room is a 20 by 20. That room there's a 25 by 20. So when Calvin Leary recycled the logs to build that portion of the house, he pulled the floor up in there as well too, because you didn't waste wood back then because it was so hard to come by. This is the original 1816 floor in here. There's no tongue and groove in it or anything like that. I guess he broke a few pieces when he was pulling it up out of the 25 by 20 cabin, but he had enough to fill in the 20 by 20 cabin, so he used it in here. And notice that it's pieced together. It's not continuous planks.
Original mantle here?
This is the original 1850 mantle. Mr. Shadow in 1940 had put these ugly iron ore rock mantles in here, but thankfully he kept the original mantles in the attic. It was easy to tell which went where because the molding had the squares in the side of it that showed where the mantles matched at. I just haven't reattached them yet, but they are the original mantles. Thankfully, the Shadows family did nothing to this house. Besides paper some walls here and there, paint some different colors, all the original woodwork, doors, windows, everything in this house is still here. This other room that's right here was another porch, 1850, closed in about 1855 as a bedroom. So this was actually the Shadow family's kitchen from 1921 until, you know, their tenure here in the 70s. However, I'm gonna convert this back to a bedroom, and to make the other side of the house match that little ear like the original side had over there, I put a bathroom in here to service this bedroom as well. Here's one of the original latches that came out the door before they had the porcelain doorknobs. So you can see this is really just 3 pieces of wood that make these doors up. But you don't see that in houses anymore because it was tacky and they took it out in the 20s and stuff and replaced the doors. The Shadows family didn't care, which is great because it's preserved the house really well.
Okay. Which way did you
The boys sleeping along. So he had 4 boys up here at one time, 3 of his own and 1 nephew. There was actually a banister that went across here originally. The Shadow family put a wall here with a closet and a wall over here with a closet to, you know, make this actual bedroom. But thankfully they kept the banister in the attic so I can put it right back across there like it was in 1850. If you notice up here, look how they brace the logs with the wood pegs up here. That's the only example of that in Louisiana. It's a more northern. Cavalieri came from North Carolina originally, so he had seen, you know, northern architecture. If we were up here until 1920, there would have been a window right here. Okay, that would have been it. You would look down to the window into the dog trot downstairs because the dog trot was open all the way to the eaves of the house. 1920, Mr. Shadow closed the dog trot in and also put this dormer rooms up here and made 2 large bedrooms up here for his growing family. So if you step down here, we're now in the upstairs portion of the house in regards to Mr. Shadow doing this in about 1921, 1922. However, the Shadows family was extremely short because they were German, and they had really short ceilings, so I'm going to take all these down and cathedral the ceilings up here so that way I have 9-foot ceilings that people don't feel like they're claustrophobic. There'll be 1 bedroom here, there'll be a large bathroom, and 1 large bedroom back here with modern closets, plumbing, and all that. Also, there's a huge attic storage space right here, which I'll cut a hole in like that door is right there, and I'll have a large attic storage place for my own, you know, just junk.
Okay.
If you look in here, which I show everybody because it's really neat, you can really see the logs that are above my bedroom downstairs, and some of them are 25 and 26 feet long, and probably when they were green weighed 300 or 400 pounds, and they managed to pick them up over 20 feet and stack them on top of each other. They probably had some kind of A-frame with oxen and mules and things like that to do that with. This is not a historically important part of the house right here, so that's why I have a little bit more leeway to frame it out as necessary. When we go back downstairs, when we go into the last 2 original rooms of the house, which were built in 1857, one is the parlor and one is the dining room. However, now I'm switching them around to different rooms, but they will be restored high plantation style from the 1850s. He had hand-painted wallpaper from New Orleans brought here. All the woodwork in there is faux painted, look like walnut. It has 14-foot ceilings in there. The doorknobs are porcelain. Actually, they had silver plate on them at one time, which rubbed off. Very fancy for North Louisiana. But as you see, you'll go from this little house in the prairie style, really rustic and primitive, to a full-blown, beautiful plantation. But on our way through there, the Shadows added 1 more section onto the house. The house was originally separated. The only way to get to the dining room and the parlor was to walk out of the dog trot, down the porch, and through the 2 doors. The Shadows family connected the 2 houses together in 1920, the same time they did this. So as we pass through the new Shadows section, that'll be my modern kitchen will be.
Okay.